Greetings, welcome for joining me here at the Lightroom forecast for this collective general reading, time and tides is what I like to call it, for this new moon in Cancer. An interesting time. I guess if you know where 18 degrees of Cancer is in your birth chart, it might give you a good indication of maybe what's going on for you if you don't just feel that anyway at the moment. Yeah, an interesting time. So let's just let's just get shuffling. We're going to look at overall overriding energies at this time for you. This is a really general collective reading. So let's just see. We'll shuffle things up. And I'm just going to split this, and we'll take some cards out in succession. We get the Princess of Cups. Not surprising. Not surprising. A very Neptunian card, the Princess of Cups. And you can see it's a beautiful, dreamy card. Look, I think at the moment, I can only speak, with my voice, but, it does feel like a very sort of, not retreating as, in a defensive way, but a kind of, there's a general feeling of retreating into our kind of center, our internal home here. And I don't know, just feeling a sense of a level of peace. I think it all depends on what's been going on for you, obviously. But anyway, we'll look at our choices at this time. We get transformation, we get death. I'll just go through here, and then we can go back through and clarify. Traits for ease at this time of this beautiful new moon in Cancer. We get in the Thoth deck, the Two of Swords is called peace. And just an extra card here. Right. We get the Ace of Swords, the sort of discernment and clarity as well. Look, maybe this is a time at this point where we see the star on the bottom of the deck, this beautiful card. There is a point at this time where I think over the last 12 months, if you kind of look back to, I think there was a Cancer eclipse somewhere in June, I think, last year. I think there's been a lot of work that's been done on a personal level. Now, I'm talking obviously very collectively here. I think if we've managed to avoid that on a personal level, on a global level, collectively, if we've sidestepped whatever those things are, working on ourselves. It all starts from you. I think if we have managed to sidestep that a little bit, I think this new moon time has probably been quite intense and maybe a little bit overwhelming. But I also think that that if you're sort of doing a slight review at the moment and looking back and saying, yes, look, I feel like I've overcome, I've sort of got through, this last year, and like I'm okay with everything at this point right now within myself. I'm talking about within oneself. Oh God, so it is quite intense. It's just what I feel. So we have this beautiful Princess of Cups, dreamy. She is the ultimate muse, inspiring, Neptunian, as I say, and I think Mercury is Mercury's in Neptune. I'm not an astrologer. For the rest of the year, isn't it? Or for quite a long time. Do let me know if I'm kind of slightly on the ball there. I'm not sure, and so there's a lot of room for, which was another element of thoughts and ideas that have been coming out over the last week. There's a lot of room for illusion. There's a lot of things, obviously it is a new moon, that we don't see yet. And so we, I was just thinking blindly planting our seeds, but we're not blindly doing it. We always do this without having the expectation of results appearing in the way that we may well choose that they do. They appear to us in a form that we need, is what I'm trying to explain. But this beautiful princess, glorious, the imagination, we've got room to move in this really fluid zone at the moment, with an understanding and a sense that that ideally we are kind of protected. Our choice, yes indeed. Transformation, yes, I know, it's all about cycles. And I think if the work, whatever the personal works in progress have been for you personally, if you've been working away at things, I do feel that, to me, this feels like a sort of transitional point in the year anyway. We've gone past the either the mid-summer or the midwinter, wherever you happen to be in the world. And so we've kind of crossed over that point. Traits for ease, peace, Two of Swords. It is about making a decision of sorts, if we want to be specific. It's a decision based on our intuitive abilities. As I say and speak of illusions, it's not what we necessarily see that we're basing our decisions upon. And then moving forward, we have this beautiful piece of clarity that will come after this gorgeous new moon. And I think over July, as July continues to move forward, certain things will become a little bit clearer on a collective level, and one can only say on a personal level as well, because one almost informs the other and informs the other. So if we look at the Princess of Cups here, if I speak in metaphor, well, that's just often the way readings come. But we get what we get on any given day. So, Princess of Cups, can we have some clarity with this gorgeous Neptunian muse? A source of great inspiration, could be carried away in the flow. There's so many potentials, possibilities. It just depends. Oh, God. Sorry, we get a great pile coming out. It just depends how much, quite frankly, Frank, how much we want to limit ourselves. We're looking at the Princess of Cups. I said Princess of Swords? No. Princess of Cups. We get 8 of Swords. As I say, it depends how much we want to limit ourselves or limit our imagination. You know, speaking of Neptunian illusions, and we look at the Princess of Cups, and she's in the watery realms, of course. The 8 of Swords is very much a mind card. I just missed where I was going with that, but so how limiting are you? Where do you see the line that you draw that you will not allow yourself to move through or to investigate, actually? This is just all from the Princess of Cups. Overarching energies. With the 8 of Swords, we get the 9 of Wands. We've got a few cards coming out here. We get the 9 of Wands, a card of habit. A card of defense, actually, and being in constant defense. It's exhausting. It's exhausting, and there is a sense of a heart-opening time at the moment, I do feel. So we're looking at, you know, habits of literally limitation. You know, what are areas or things that you want to investigate, that you want to allow yourself to experience. And I'm talking, it could be in the material sort of, obviously in the physical world is what we live in here. But it's also in the emotional water world, in matters of the heart, in matters of chambers of the heart. I do believe a couple of the last Cancer readings were really about being able to open up some new areas in that zone, in that gorgeous temple, which is your heart, and not being defensive, not having to defend, but investigating some new chambers, being able to open those, allow others to see without feeling the need for defense. So we come through, when looking at this princess, it's just like, oh my God. We get the Ace of Cups. I just love this. I love this ace. The light's a little bit weird here, but you know, this gift. It's a gift. If we understand our defense mechanisms, our own personal limitations, and of course this is a really, really general reading, but it appears to be, and it's a collective reading. But it appears to be coming from a really personal place, from an individual place. But you can transpose that onto the global climate at the moment anyway, I think. So if we allow a little bit of opening up, we get the 6, this beautiful 6, which is a winning card. It's about coming home. It's about coming home. It's a victorious card. It would assume that we've overcome quite a bit. Dear people. Anyway, let's just go through. We'll look at transformation in the area of, or in the position of choice. So it looks like there's room. There's a lot of room to explore some new things at the moment, to let ourselves go with a certain flow. And we're still kind of blind. That's just what I get. With the card of death, the beautiful death card, transformation, making room making room for new things to come through. We get the Four of Discs. And the Four of Discs is a wonderful card. Of course, the most obvious thing here is that all points are covered, aren't they? We're holding on, in this card, that is. We're holding on. It is clearly obvious that there is something to be said for letting go. And often, when we do let go, we find that all these other things come in, you know. So it's quite a nice, directive, you know. It's like if you love something, it's like that. Well, that's just what I hear. If you love something, let it be free. Let it be free. There's so much potential in that. I know it's an old saying, isn't it? But it's very true. Now, Two of Swords in the position. Traits phase. Again, another great cluster. And moving forward with the Ace of Swords, this... Look, there is an element of truth, or there's some sort of... well, I say epiphany. It could be anything, couldn't it? But that piercing of the crown with new information, I think it's about a new way of doing things, isn't it? I mean, it's a new way of doing things. We have the lovely Ten of Cups. Glorious on the bottom of the deck. Now, when we look at the Two of Swords, this, in the position of traits for ease, we just really need to trust our instincts, to trust our intuitive voice, not necessarily our mind or our rational weighing up, listing, you know, the pluses, the minuses. It's not that. Because after this new moon, in fact, when you see the central point that the sword here is piercing the new moon, and then we have in this beautiful Ace of Swords, you know, there's a whole lot of new information coming through here. But anyway, so we get this cluster, which is quite glorious, with the Two of Swords. Up until this point, we see that the climate is perfect for extending our boundaries, exploring new things, opening ourselves up, letting some things go. Just open up a few more of those chambers in your heart and in your mind and your imagination. We get the Nine of Swords, which, you know, is the card of nightmares here with the two. The first card, Nine of Swords, a card of incessant worrying, you know, waking up early hours of the morning, worrying about money, worrying about everything, catastrophic thoughts. We get this idea here that in terms of being anywhere, dealing with any trial, that if we have a really strong internal core, that's our home, you know. Like, without sounding twee or marginalising anyone else's experience. And as I walk around the city, it's the same in Aotearoa, where I come from, even small towns. There are so many homeless people. It's just astronomical, and not enough housing. So I'm not marginalising someone's experience and being flippant by saying, you know, this is your internal home within will always get you through. I know that, reflected back at us in the world. We see, just all the connectors that make up a kind of scenario where someone is on the street. Anyway, so we'll just tie-ho on that one for a moment. So we see this Nine of Swords, a card of nightmare, unfounded fears, really, that you just say, yes, I'll just put a barrier up there, and that can just, because it's your mind going AWOL, catastrophic thinking. Then we have this idea that, yes, the double 11, the Four of Wands, another 4, very stable, but the consummate happy home. But it's kind of like, well, do we see this happy home? What do we compromise for this happy home? There's so many different ways you could look at this. Is it restrictive? I mean, it looks like a pretty nice place to me. And it is a sort of homecoming. But look, I guess when we're looking at extending our boundaries, we allow our minds, our imaginations to flow, then we come up with these ideas that may well challenge us, but that we still want to investigate. With this cluster, we next have, as I say, I think after this new moon coming into the next full moon, that we probably will get a little bit more sight and insight into where we are heading, whether that's collectively or individually in your life. At the moment, we get the beautiful card of Temperance. Beautiful card. Alchemy. We're mixing metals. We're mixing substances that are fermenting, that we are wanting to investigate. We don't know what's going to come of it. And it is about timing. There's a timing here. And when the time is right, the time is right. We then get the Four of Swords. Another 4. We've got, 4 swords. We've got we only need one more sword, don't we? And that's the one more 4. Interesting. We just need the 4 of Cups. So we get the Four of Swords, beautiful card of healing, and looking and moving forward with the Ace of Swords. Sorry if this is a bit disjointed. Often the first reading that I do is, and then we get into the swing of it. So with the Four of Swords, yes, new clarity, maybe an epiphany, certainly new information piercing, coming down, right timing, and voila, something is revealed that allows us to keep continuing with the flow that's going on at this current time. With the Four of Swords, we get the Page. What is the Page of Rods? The Page of Wands. A very exploratory mind. Very curious, interested, wants to see how they work their will in their world. They're willing to take risks. And we're not talking genders here. They're willing to take risks. With that, we have the Empress, the mother, creative, nurturing. Something amazing comes from this. This desire, drive to be quite experimental. And whether this is in, shifting institutions or shifting the structure of things, or whether it represents or appears in your world, in your mind, in your system. We can look at it on, as I say, on an individual level and a global level as well. We see this emphasis on nurturing, on a kind of mother love, and realizing that we are all connected here, and that there's a great not only a sea of knowledge with the Empress that creates new life, that creates new thought. There is a synthesis going on, and I think the only way that we, we have to take risks in order to allow that, in order to see it come to form or some sort of fruition at some point. But it is about nurturing. It's about love. It's a very beautiful heart card. So it's looking kind of interesting. We'll just pour water on it, is what it's thinking. I don't know where that came from. Probably temperance, maybe. Maybe things are heating up. Look, we'll get a Pixie and Fairy from Brian Frood, Fairy Oracle, a Journey Map deck, and a little word card today, just as summing up this reading. Yeah, look, it's nice. We get the fawn coming out, which is in some ways that it's hard to see, but I love this because it's a mirrored image. It's a mirrored image. It's a beautiful sort of almost deer-like image, but it is about comrades. It's about compadres. It's about seeing ourselves, aspects of ourselves in others, and vice versa, and knowing that we all, as humans, experience these emotions, these varied myriad of experiences and emotions. It's a commonality to all of us. Just kind of interesting to get the fawn. It is also a friendship card. It's about friendship and being open. Being open. Let's see. What was that? I think this is it. Journey map we get. Sorry, you can't see the words. Retreat. And where is it? No. It's a kind of autumnal card. It's retreat and review. And I do feel at this new moon time, I do feel that that this is sort of what it's felt like the last few days, but not in a unpleasant way at all. Now what was I doing? Right. And of course on the bottom of that we have data dreaming, a card of receiving new information, and whether that be in our dream time, we're ready to receive this new information, and we will be ready. It is just a matter of time, dear people. Okay, so we'll get a wee word from the Harlequins and the stars. We've got two. Oh, we've got three coming out. Express your truth. Express your truth, dear people. And as we always say, express your truth and allow others their own. And the age-old saying that, is it? Truth is a pathless land, which is something one of my favourite, another channel here on YouTube, astrologer, Anastasia, cosmic astrologer, wonderful sort of emphasis on evolutionary astrology, but she often quotes Krishnamurti on that. Truth is a pathless land, and it so is. Anyway, clarity of thought. Do you understand the difference between mind chatter and the writing's so small, and the difference between mind chatter and listening to your higher self? So that voice of guidance, that intuitive voice, you know, that thing where you do feel, you feel like, yeah, that was a really good decision. Or you feel like, oh no, I can feel it in my body, you know. Sometimes you're aware of that. You do feel whether you're on the right track or not in your body. It's nice to be aware of that, or to try to be anyway. And then we get the big kahuna, the most important thing of all. Engage strategy with an open heart. Now, they're not, you know, opposite ends of the scale. Strategy. It's been quite specific planning. One can do that with an open heart at this time, and why not? We can do it all the time. We try to. So on that note, thank you for tuning in. I hope you got something from this reading. Please do like, share and subscribe. It helps me no end to keep this going. I really appreciate you tuning in. So take good care. We'll be coming in with all the signs readings for this new moon, and I am behind the 8 ball, but I'll be also coming out with some looking at what your internal treasures are at this time as well. So that's a double lot of readings over the next week coming through. So take good care. Take wonderful care. AROHANUI to you all. Thank you. Cheery. Bye.